My name is Marissa. I'm on Team Exhilarate with Lindsay, and I'm very excited to introduce our guest speaker for today, Josh Spencer, who I got to see at Super Saturday and was just blown away by his inspiring story. So I thought it'd be pretty cool to get him on a team call and everybody could get a chance to hear what he has to say. If you're not already following him, he shares live stories like every single day, and it's great to follow and get the motivation from him. He is a top coach and elite coach. He is running and leading a team of over 20,000 coaches and is constantly showing us how to lead by example. So I thought that it'd be cool to have him on here and he could share a little bit of his story and how and why he became a coach. And then we've got some questions that he's going to answer for us too. So, hi, Josh.
Hi, how are you?
Great.
I really appreciate the introduction.
Hi.
I think we might have to mute some people here.
Yeah, hold on.
Happens to me all the time on my calls, so I totally get it. But no, so I really appreciate the introduction. How much time do we have for
Well, you
this?
said about a half hour, so.
Okay, just want to make.
I'm really getting sick.
So that kind of determines how much of my story I share. So
You have a good day.
You do the same?
Hold on 1 second. There we go.
there we go. Okay. Perfect. All right, we're good now. So, that kind of determines how much of my story I share, because I know that you have a good list of questions that I'm going to go through and answer. So I'm going to make this very brief, all right? So like she said, my name's Josh Spencer. I've been coaching since July of 2008. I got involved with coaching. It's actually, I'll briefly share that story because it's very interesting and ironic. So I was a financial advisor, gained a bunch of weight, probably in about 2 or 3 months, 30 pounds maybe. I was stressed out from my job, super unhealthy, drinking almost every night. I mean, I was literally as unhealthy as you could possibly get. And when you add 16 hours of working on top of that, all that stress, it's not a good combination. I knew I needed to change. So I found P90X one night when I was eating a huge bowl of ice cream. This was late, probably around midnight, and I ordered it. I went online on eBay, surprisingly enough, and that's because I didn't understand that there was a coach network. But to this day, I'm very fortunate that I did it that way just because it was from a coach who was selling it illegally on eBay. And what that means is that there was this little slip in there. It was like an original P90X package, and there was this little slip in there that said I can go online and I can sign up for my free Team Beachbody coach. I'm like, well, that sounds pretty interesting, and I'd love to have some help going through this because I have no idea what I'm doing. I have no knowledge on nutrition. I obviously know how to work out because I used to be a college baseball player. That's all I did. I was in the gym all the time, but I had no idea what I was doing with proper nutrition. I need so much help with that. So I'm like, you know what, maybe whoever this is can help me. I went online, signed up, and it was Barbie Cliff, which you guys probably know is Sagi's wife. That is my personally sponsored coach. I was her free customer lead, so so when it comes to you guys getting free customer leads, you gotta really treat them right because you never know who you have, But Barbie was incredible with me. She supported me so much and helped me so much, not just with fitness and everything either. One thing I highly respected of Barbie was that she helped me through everything I was going through. I was going through a lot of personal issues with relationships, with my job, everything. And in fact, I probably think we spent more time going over that stuff than actually fitness stuff. But she helped me stay motivated. In 90 days, I got just incredible results. Best shape of my life. I lost 25 pounds. I just got shredded, man. P90X was just an incredible program. And then she asked me to be a coach, and I said no because I had too much going on. And then a couple months later, I had some really crappy things going on with my job. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take a vacation. I'm going to think about my life. So I literally walked into work one day and I told my boss that I was leaving. I'm like, I'm just leaving because I wasn't getting paid anyways, just because I didn't reach my quota from the month before. And that's just how the financial advising thing works. It's kind of confusing. But I wasn't getting paid. So I'm like, I don't give a shit. I'm sorry. I don't know if there's kids on, but I don't give a crap if they're, they care or not, because I'm not getting paid. So I'm going to walk in and tell them, hey, listen, I'm leaving. I'm going on vacation. I literally got in my car 3 days later and drove all the way down to Myrtle Beach by myself. And I stayed there for a week by myself. And I did that because I wanted to think about my life and what I wanted out of life. I needed a clear head in order for that to happen. I came back with I knew what I needed to do. I knew exactly the process that I wanted to follow, and that was become a coach. So I decided to sign up in July of 2008, July 7th. And yeah, so I struggled a lot as a coach in the very beginning. I was working a lot of hours still with my other job. I failed over and over and over and over and over again. Probably more than any of you guys can ever imagine. I failed so much. In fact, I tell this to my team all the time. I've probably failed well over 10,000 times in this business. I mean, it just seems like every day there's something else I'm struggling with or that I've failed with, just another obstacle that I have to overcome. But I'm the type of person that I understand that that's part of the process in order to be successful. So I went ahead and just pushed through it and learned from my mistakes and made adjustments. And I would say about a year into coaching, my wife and I were really struggling though. I was still not doing that well with coaching. I actually quit my other job. We were on government support. I couldn't afford anything for my family. We were thousands of dollars in debt. I couldn't afford the formula for our little girl, which was very embarrassing as a father. I felt like a failure as a father, as a husband. And it got to a point for me to where I knew I needed to make a change. And I knew that Beachbody was the answer for that. So I sat my wife down and I just said to her, I said, listen, if you give me 1 year of sacrifice, 1 year of hard work, I promise you I will create a lifetime of freedom, both time and financial freedom. And that was back in 2010. That was the year I won top coach. We went from literally being in debt to a six-figure income in a year, which is just insane. But the amount of effort that I put into the business that year was, I don't even know how I did it, to be honest with you. But what's crazy is I did it for more than 1 year. I did it for 3 years. So I was putting in just countless hours, just learning everything I can about the business, being mentored by anybody that was willing to mentor me. And then it just kind of led me to where I am today. So, last 3 years, last 4 years has been very interesting. I have a different approach to the business. I focus more on the leadership side of it and developing my downline and creating lasting volume. So that's one of the things that I really pride our team on is our ability to create volume and not focus. We focus on rank a little bit, but if you guys want true income, it comes from your ability to lead your team and duplicate with your team. So that's really my specialty with my team is that we have a lot of high income earners, but you don't see any 15 stars. We just have a different type of strategy, and that's okay. And there's actually a lot of other coaches out there who have the same approach. Jason Diebel is one of them. There's a bunch of other ones. But anyway, so that's my team. That's a rundown of my story. There's a lot more involved, but we can go ahead and just get to the questions, I guess.
Okay, thanks for sharing. So one of the first questions that I came up with and that some of the team members came up with was how you get your team to believe in the business and the fact that it can work. I know that's hard sometimes, so what's your insight on that?
This is a leadership principle here. Your team will believe what you believe in your vision, right? So one thing that I've always had is an incredible belief in what we do as Beachbody coaches. And I have a special way of communicating that. I really think so. I let my passion just come out with every single person I'm talking to, whether it's a team call, whatever it is. I let people see that, feel my passion, and understand my vision of where not only where Beachbody is going, because obviously we have just an incredible opportunity in front of us here, but where our team is going and where I can help other people go as well. So people buy into my vision, and because of that, they buy into my beliefs as well.
Awesome. I definitely agree. I think that you talked about that a little bit at Super Saturday about how important it is to share your vision with people. So you mentioned that you overcame a lot of obstacles and that you're still overcoming them in the business and that you failed, I think you said like 10,000 times. What is something that motivates you or helps you get through all those failures?
You know, I'm very fortunate. I grew up, so my dad is a business owner, right? He owns 3 businesses. My grandpa was also a business owner. And I was very fortunate to grow up around them and learn the importance of failing in order to succeed. And that's something that not a lot of people understand. So my dad got me involved in personal development at such a young age. The first book I read was The Magic of Thinking Big by David Schwartz, which I'm sure everybody and their mother has heard me talk about now. So that book changed my life and really helped me understand even further in depth the importance of failing in order to succeed. So I just have an ability to just kind of accept it. So when failure happens for me, I know it's going to happen. So the problem that most people have is they sit there and they dwell on the failure. Most of you guys know that. If you have coaches underneath you, you see that, and maybe even you do it yourself. You know, you fail in this business, maybe you drop out of rank, or maybe you didn't make as much as you want. Most people, what they'll do is they'll get frustrated and they'll let them hold them back. So they get frustrated and they'll pull back from the business, but I'm a little different than that. I'm a lot different than that. In fact, I look forward to that failure because that's going to teach me what I need to change in order to keep moving forward. So what I do is anytime I come across a failure in my life and my business, I pause for a second, and then I take, maybe it's a day or two or less, and I analyze the situation. I analyze exactly what happened, why I failed, and then what I can change so that that never happens again. And I've just done that process throughout the entire 8 years of being a Beachbody coach. And because of that, I just continue to move forward. And plus, my life is a hell of a lot less stressed out because I'm not worrying about these obstacles. I just know that it's going to happen. I just got to keep changing in order to get beyond them. You know, so recently has been a big eye-opener for me. I think that I swear it's every day I have something that I failed at. But most recently, I've really taken a step back and looked at my organization as a whole. And my leadership's incredible. I feel like I've really made strides in my leadership in the last, 4 years. But I have my system is lacking, and my duplication is not where it needs to be. It's good. My system's good, but it's not where it needs to be. So I really feel like I failed in that area. So in the last 3 weeks, for example, when I discovered that, then I sat down and I thought about, okay, what can I do? So for the last 3 weeks, 4 weeks, I've been developing a entirely new training system for my team, new support system, new recognition system, everything, because I want to make sure I have better systems of duplication in place. So that's just an example of what I go through on a daily basis and what my business is like. It's like today, I'm sure there's something I'm going to come across that I failed with. And I'm going to sit down, I'm going to think about it, and I'm going to figure out what I can do so I don't make that same mistake again. So it's a process that all you have to accept and understand and not get frustrated about. Because honestly, if I look at anybody who's been successful in life, that is the one special ability that they have, is the ability to just keep moving forward no matter how bad it gets. So if you can do that, you have a bright future ahead.
Great. Okay, so you talked about your personal development. Would you say that that's your favorite book for personal development, or is there something else that you...
Yeah, I think that's definitely my favorite. It's just got a special place in my heart, right? I would say that the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership by John Maxwell is my second favorite book. I've read that 3 times. I'll probably read it again soon. That right there literally changed my business in terms of getting my coaches to move away from me, things I needed to do with my team, mentoring my team. It really changed my outlook on how to be a better leader.
Great. So somebody also mentioned a question. When you're building your business, maybe in the building years, when you put in everything you had to it, was there something in particular that helped you maybe expand or find people that were willing to work with you? Or was there something in particular that, like a lot of people go into Facebook groups now and try to connect that way, but we all seem to have an issue with maybe finding the right people?
Sure. So I told you that one of my quote unquote special abilities was to adjust from failure. My other one is my ability to own my business. And what do I mean by that? Is that everything and I think I talked about this at the Super Saturday, everything that happens in my business is based on my own efforts. And that includes, obviously my failures, my successes, everything. I just do my best to learn more and something different every single day that's going to help my business move forward. So there's another issue that a lot of coaches have, is that they rely too much on other people. They might rely on you too much. They might rely on me too much. And the thing is that we have to help coaches immediately understand when they sign up that I'm not your boss, right? Things are going to happen. You are now a CEO of your business. You're a business owner, whether you like it or not. And there comes responsibility with that. Okay. And that means that, yes, I might guide you in the right direction, but ultimately, if you want to figure out what's going to work for you, how you can talk to people, how you can market yourself, how you can appeal to your individual market, how you can brand yourself, you want to learn how to do that, you better take matters in your own hands and start doing research. So I've done so much research, guys. It's just absolutely ridiculous on this business and marketing as a whole. If you look at where I started, to where I literally didn't even have any understanding about social media at all. I just started Facebook when I started as a coach. I didn't know how to communicate. I didn't even have any freaking friends. And I went from that to now building, $1 million plus business on social media. That's taken a long time to do with a ton of research. But you guys can't believe how much you can learn from YouTube and Google. In fact, anything you ever want to learn literally is free on YouTube and Google. So I'm always going on there and I'm always doing different searches. In fact, it's almost every day. I probably have 3 or 4 more new how-to searches. So I really tried to explain that to my coaches is, guys, listen, you want to learn how to, and the thing is, it's to separate yourself from the other people. Everybody's doing the same thing, but there's always something unique that a top coach is doing. There's always something very special. And they learn that by researching. They figured it out on their own. Someone else didn't go to them and say, hey, this is what you need to do. They figured it out on their own. You just have to find out what that is for you. So like I said, most coaches, they just don't do that. They don't take ownership of their business, and you have to. If you want to learn anything, go to Google, go to YouTube, and if you can't find it there, there's so many different paid things. I mean, you look at 18 Porterfield. I mean, there's so many trainings out there from these social media experts that know what they're doing. You just have to, you just got to get it. I mean, and that also goes into another aspect of this business, and that's making investments in yourself. If you don't make investments in yourself, I mean, you're not going to get a return. That's just reality. That's the facts. And that means both time and financial wise. Time wise, going to events, speaking to other people. Financial wise, obviously personal development, different trainings, whether that's on Facebook or Instagram or whatever it is. There's always going to be a cost to something, but what you get out of that and what you apply, you're going to get far more return than what you spend. So you just have to be willing to invest in yourself and learn something new every single day.
Great. I also was wondering, you mentioned recognition earlier, but when we look at the vital behaviors, would you say that that is one that's most important to you, or is there a different one that you focus on?
Yeah. You might be asking the wrong person for this because I have a whole different opinion on the whole fourth vital behavior. So I don't think the recognition should be a vital behavior. I think it's important. I don't think it's a vital behavior. It was very surprising to me that they actually put that in there. I'm not saying that it's not important because trust me, it is. But there's so many other things that are more important than recognition. For me personally, I think the top two share, and that's personal development and that's inviting. Because without inviting, your business isn't going to grow. Without personal development, you're never going to grow. And I think that you absolutely 100% have to focus on each of those every single day if you want to keep moving in your business. So,
All right. All right. Some other questions I see coming in. How many people would you say you are recruiting per month?
that's kind of a trick question because what I'm doing now is not what I was doing when I was building
True.
hardcore. However, I am getting back to that, by the way, which, Joe, I'll probably talk to you about here this week. I want to get back to top 10 or top coach, but I'm not going to talk about that right now. So what was I doing? I was actually I don't even want to share this. I was signing up 120 new customers a week and about 40 coaches a month back in 2010, 2011. It started to fall off a little bit in 2012. But that was really, I kind of a hard point in my business. I had to take a look at why my income was stalling. And that's when I started really focusing on leadership, so that I felt like that was an area I was really lacking in. And then that's when my business started improving again. So, yeah.
Wow.
I was recruiting a hell of a lot of people.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Well, you just kind of answered another question, I think. But when it comes to retaining people and helping them to make money, I think you mentioned leadership a lot. So would you say that that's what helps you retain people so that they could see the outcome or the future that they could have and want to continue advancing themselves?
So one of my other strengths is my ability to motivate people. And trust me, I'm talking about my strengths here, but I have a hell of a lot of weaknesses, and I don't mind talking about them just right now, talking about these. But, I'm really good at motivating people. So when I have coaches, and I think I do a really good job, too, explaining the process that's going to happen when new coaches get on board, right? And plus, going along with that, you have to have a system, a good system to plug them into that get them moving right away. So I think the combination of that, of being able to motivate people on a daily basis, and that really that's really another step into leadership. Just because a lot of people, they want to sugarcoat things with their coaches. I have a way of being very direct and very direct to people without offending them. I might piss them off for a brief minute, but they understand that I'm doing it because I'm trying to help them. So I have a certain way of approaching people and being real and honest with them. So if I see somebody that is making excuses, for example, I will tell them what they're doing because I don't want them. I feel like it is our responsibility as coaches, as sponsors, as leaders to not sugarcoat it. Because if we sugarcoat it, we are now doing that person a disservice. And we are letting them continue to do things that's hurting their own business, right? So it's my job and responsibility as a leader to help people continue to move forward. And that means being very frank with them and telling them what they need to hear, not what they want to hear. So I'm really good at that. And obviously motivating people on a daily basis, getting coaches started. I feel like I have a really good process with that. Getting them earning quickly, getting them to the Success Club. The earlier you can get a coach going, the more successful they're going to be, or the greater the chance of them being successful. So.
Cool. So I guess another question we have is, somebody mentioned this one. What would you say our number one product is?
Number one product?
Yeah.
I mean, Shakeology for sure. That's very interesting because if you would ask me probably a year and a half ago when I wasn't dealing with Lyme disease, I would have probably said something else. But the amount of research I've done into nutrition and understanding how nutrition works in the body, just trying to heal from this disease, it makes me appreciate what we have in Shakeology even more. I've been taking it twice a day since going through Lyme disease treatment, and it's an important part of my recovery. I firmly believe that. So Shakeology has a special place in my heart, and I think it's definitely our top product.
Well, I would agree. I think that it's very easy to believe in it because of how much it has to offer us. Okay, so I think the last question I would like to end with is, if you were going back to when you first sat down with your wife and told her that you were going to use the next year to build and give yourself that freedom, what tip would you give to the new coaches now that are trying to lock in, I guess, that motivation, or the tip that would give them the ability to do the same thing?
Honestly, I think I already answered that, because it really does go back to those two things I talked about in the beginning: taking ownership of your business, and obviously, and on top of that too, the ability to make sacrifices. The hard thing that a lot of people have is that they don't want to put in the effort. They have these big ass goals, but they're not willing to put in the effort to do it. See, one of the things about me is I'm an extremely hard worker. I always have been. My dad taught me that very, very young age. And I've applied that to everything I've done in my life, from my baseball career to my Beachbody career, is that you're going to have to work hard, man. And that means, yes, you're going to have to lack sleep. You're going to have to sacrifice time. You're going to have to make some sacrifices financially to get to events, or there's a way to afford everything. There really is. And I can say that from experience, because I made it happen. There's a way. You have to push yourself so far beyond your comfort zone that it just becomes a normal to not be comfortable. And when you cannot be comfortable, that's where growth occurs. But people fail and they struggle because they become too comfortable. So in 2010, I was not comfortable for 1 minute. I mean, I was literally challenging myself. I was tired. I was putting in the hours. I was doing everything I can to get my family out of that situation and reach that goal of top coach. I mean, and that's a massive goal, right? I mean, you're talking about a huge network. I'm trying to be the number one coach in the entire network. I knew what it would take to get there, and that's what I did to make it happen. So, it was a ton of hard work, ton of sacrifices. Being the CEO of my business, taking ownership, and the ability to obviously learn from my failures and make adjustments. If you combine all that was 2010 in a nutshell. I learned so much stuff during that year, and I had some incredible mentors as well. I reached out to a lot of people and said, hey, can you at least just give me 10 minutes of your time so I can ask you a few questions? And, thankfully there were a lot of people that were willing to do that. So, yeah, that's kind of a hard question. I think it would be a combination of all of those things.
Right. And I thought that was going to be my last question, but I have one more that just somebody else would like to know. If you were the importance of the leadership ladder and volume, are you able to touch on that at all?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, because I think that the leadership ladder is a better indication of your success than anything else is. And it's really interesting to me that Beachbody hasn't focused more on that. I mean, I know they're focusing a little bit on it now, but I'm talking about in terms of pay and income and bonuses and everything like that. It's interesting, but I think it's something that you have to just push towards the next rung. I mean, so what I'm doing right now is I'm actually designing my new training to go off of the leadership, or to go with the leadership ladder. So instead of focusing so much on rank advancement, it's more on that next leadership rung. And a lot of top coaches have taken this step in their businesses, and it's really, really been good for them. And that's the step that I want to take as well. So it's super, super important.
Well, I really appreciate you getting on today and sharing all of your special tips and story with us. I know that I wasn't the only one who benefited, so I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, any of you guys have any other questions? I could take a few minutes and answer them.
Anybody have any questions that they'd like to throw out there?
No, I just want to say I really appreciate it as well, and I want to say this on behalf of the team, the whole team, Aspire, even because this recording will go in there too. Just what an honor it is to have you, Josh, and we told the team how special you are, and thank Marissa for putting it together, and all that you do for everybody in the country. You're truly somebody to look up to, and we really appreciate that.
I have a question.
Yeah, sure.
Hey, how are you, man? By the way, just love your story and your enthusiasm. I'm pretty enthusiastic. I'm pretty energetic and full of life. I'm just struggling trying to find other people. And I invite everybody and their mother. So I know that I just got to keep going. But, I just wanted to hear like from somebody like you, what do you do in situations like that? It's finding somebody who even wants to be Emerald.
Victor, let me clarify that for you because I want Josh to have some background on you. Victor is one of our best producers in terms of challenge packs and customers. He's out there working every day. He does it. But I think he's suggesting about duplication and finding business workers, right, Victor? Is that what you're?
Yeah, I'm trying to find business workers, and I've hired, I own a DJ company, so I work with a lot of like rich people. I've gotten some really rich people to be coaches with me. I've gotten personal trainers to be teachers, nurses, everything. And when it comes to getting them into training, immediately they just back off. They don't even want to do any of the training stuff.
Are you talking about new coaches, or are you talking about prospects that are trying to sign, or you want to sign coaches?
Well, I signed up a lot of coaches too. I'm Success Club 10, since I first started my first month. I know how to get people in and just getting them to they don't even do the getting started right.
They're not connecting to the business process, so he's wanting to know about how to find appropriate business partners.
Yeah. Just don't give up. I guess sometimes you just got to keep going. I don't know.
So I think you might be making a couple of mistakes. I think the first one is obviously you're not attracting the right people. And something's going on in your communication with them to scare them off. So let me ask you, and we'll figure it out here. So the coaches, the people that you're talking to, who are these people? Are they random people that have never done a Beachbody program? Are they people that have been in your groups? Like, who are they?
All of that. They're random people that come to me. They're like, I see what you're doing, because I'm consistent with my posting and just adding value to people about food. I really love what I'm doing. I'm passionate about it. And some of them come in and they do great with, their success stories, doing challenges, and then they move on. I feel like I'm starting to get more people that are closer to it. I'm getting it. I'm figuring it out. But, it's just I've been in for a year and 4 months, and, I haven't gotten to 1 star yet, so I haven't found another person.
So I think there's a couple things you need to do. I think you need to take a step back and look at the exact point where you're losing people. Because it sounds to me like they're saying something's overwhelming them, you're scaring them off, something is happening in your communication with them. And 2, you have to focus more on leadership. You have to. Because, again, something is lacking in the leadership department. You're going to have to really focus on learning what that is for you. And, again, it's okay to be in that point, man. A lot of people don't understand this. I was 1 star or 3 star for like a year and a half or 2 years without progressing at all. And I really had to say, okay, I had to take a step back and say, okay, I really, really suck at this. I suck at leadership. I've got to figure out how I can become better. And that's when I started really digging into everything John Maxwell. So I think that,
okay.
Well, like I said, I think you might be attracting the wrong people. So let me ask you, so I want you to tell me a little bit about yourself right now, just briefly. Tell me about who you are.
I am 51 years old. I have 3 kids. I'm one of the first break dancers. I own a DJ company. I actually get paid to party with people. I had a wife who passed away from cancer. I'm getting a divorce currently right now. So, you know, I've struggled with food, with anger, depression. And I write my story. I share that, and I attract a lot of people.
So let me ask you, and I appreciate that, by the way, you opening up and sharing that. Let me ask you, these people that you're signing up, are they like you?
No, not really.
There's your problem. You're not doing a good enough job branding yourself. So if you look at, I want you to take a step back and I want you to analyze the top coaches in the entire network. You can look at me and my business. You can look at Lindsay Matway. You can look at Melanie Mitro. What do you notice about all of us? We have the same type of people on our teams. Our entire organizations have been built on who we are. So the reason is because, and I've really spent a lot of time in my new training talking about this, we want to attract people who are like us because we can relate to people who are like us. And a lot of problems that I see with, and you're not the first one that's brought that up, by the way. I mean, that's happened many times. What happens is when you start signing up people that are not like you, then there's something lost. Translation is lost, and they cannot relate to anything that you're doing. So you have to go back, and you need to really focus on branding too. Branding yourself and getting yourself out there and doing a better job attracting people who are like you. You own a DJ business, right? That's like, I freeze. Am I good? Oh crap! Can you guys hear me?
You're good now.
Now we can.
Okay, sorry. So you have a DJ business, right? There's a lot of DJs out there. There's so many other things that you just mentioned. You have to brand those specific parts of you, and you have to really open up and get those out there to people. And yes, you can share your story, but something is not right there. There's something wrong in your branding. And once you do that, and once you figure out who you are, and you create a plan on how to appeal to people who are like you. So if you look at, if I would go to your Facebook page right now, and I would look at your banner, and I would look at your profile picture, and I would look at all of the posts that you make and the pictures that you post under those posts. If that doesn't tell a story about you, then you're not doing the right thing. So everything that you do has to be strategic to who you are. Okay, so that includes the fonts that you like, right? So everything that I do, if you go to my Facebook banner, if you go to anywhere of mine, the colors that I use, the fonts that I use, the clothes that I wear, everything screams me. And I do that on purpose because I want to attract people who are like me. The other person who I think really has done the best job at branding themselves and attracting people like them in the network is Amy Silverman. She's mastered it. I mean, absolutely mastered branding down to a T. She knows who she is. She knows who she attracts. And if you look at every one of her coaches, they're the same damn person, right? And it's so funny. But if you look at all those top coach teams, I'm a team full of guys who are former athletes, right? And have a business-minded mindset. Or the Danny Johnson training, a Ruby personality. I attract people who are just like me. Lindsay and Melanie, they attract, the women are them. Like, it's just all them. That's all their team is. So something is getting lost there, man. And I think that you need to focus more on the branding, figure that out, figure out how you can attract to and appeal to people who are like you. And plus, I want you to put value out there, more value regarding your specific market. Okay? So all of your posts on social media, again, they have to have purpose. They have to have intent. They should be to create value to people who are following you, to people who are like you. So, for example, with me, and I love using this because this is a perfect example. With me, Lyme disease, I've been dealing with for over a year now. I know my market. That is now part of my market. I'm starting to attract a lot of people who are dealing with Lyme disease in the Lyme community. I know that. So I'm creating posts specifically to appeal to them. I'm creating value. So I'm talking about things like dealing with anxiety, which is a very common symptom with Lyme disease, or dealing with pain, or how to change your nutrition in order to heal from disease, or how to heal your gut to boost your immune system, right? So I'm giving tips and value to appeal to the specific people who are like me. So I think that you probably need to do a lot more of that. And then once you have that done, then all of a sudden now people are going to come to you who are just like you. And when that happens, now you sign them up as coaches and you can relate to them. You know how to communicate with them, because it's just like communicating with your damn self, right? I talk to people on my team just like I would talk to me. You know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, focus on the leadership aspect. And I'm telling you, man, if you do this, you do all those things, your business will change.
Thank you.
So.
Thanks for asking that, Vic. I know that I can relate a lot to that struggle, so I appreciate all of that information. Is there anybody else who had anything to ask?
The only thing I would add to that, too, is that in combination of that perfect answer from Josh is just that overall getting started right process and getting good at that getting started right process with clear direction and objectives for people to give them a little bit at a time so that they go out and do one thing and then you give them another thing and give them things they can actually do and not overwhelm them. Right, Josh? Is that
absolutely? I mean,
yeah, I totally agree with you guys about the not overwhelming. I'm telling you, I try to get people to just do this getting started right. They can't even fill out the application.
Yeah.
It's like crazy. It's like, what? Oh, my computer doesn't work. Oh, I can't download it. Oh, I'm like, oh. And I'm patient with them and really understanding. And it's a struggle, but I like the branding. I mean, I do brand myself, but I think I might be all over the place with that. I'm going to try to fine tune that. The last month has been better. I've done some really great posts, and people are, are starting to respond. So I'm going to follow on that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, the other thing you got to remember too, and this is a hard thing for people to just kind of understand. It's something that I've done well on my team, and I teach. I'm able to duplicate this as well. Oh shit! I just lost my train of thought.
What did it have to do with getting started right, or
yeah, it did. There was something specific I wanted to talk about regarding that.
Oops.
Yes. So a lot of my coaches, when something happens in the organization, and I'm not saying this is happening with you, but when something happens in the organization, it's very quick to blame the person that's the new coach, right, or your team. You have to understand that it's you. And that's something that I've been very good at. If something's not right on my team, so for example, in his situation where he's having trouble getting people even committing right out of the gate, which is interesting, I would not say what is wrong with these people. I would say, what am I doing wrong? So if I don't see growth in my team or I don't see progress, then I'm taking full responsibility of everything that happens. And that is a really, really important lesson to understand, is that it's you. It goes back to you, whether you think so or not. And sometimes it's hard to deal with that, but it's part of being a leader to accept responsibility for everything that happens on your team. So like I said, man, I mean, something is going wrong in what you're doing. You have to take a step back and analyze why that's happening. And don't do anything else. Just focus 100% on figuring that out and make a plan, right? Write down everything that you're doing, make a plan on how to correct it. And, if you can approach the entire business that way, you really, really make a lot of progress. So.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, like Joe mentioned, I'm very honored that you were able to give us some time today. I definitely didn't know if I was going to get a good response back and if you'd even have time. So it means a lot that you were able to share some time with us and help all of us hit some new goals.
Absolutely. I'm glad. I hope that you guys heard something in there that was helpful and can help you move your business forward. I mean, that's why I do this. I love helping other people, whether you're on my team or not. And, it's people that are hungry. I like that. I have respect for people who are hungry and want to succeed. And I don't mind taking time out to help you guys out. So
thanks so much.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Josh.
All right. Thanks for having me. See you guys.
Bye.
Have a good day. Bye.